Hello there, my name is Buluma Jeremy. I work with Crime Support, and under the Access to Justice program, we do have Ask a Lawyer series. In today's episode, we'll be handling the law of property. Many of you have asked what the law of property is and what it entails. Joining us on board is Wakili Shaban Rajab, who will be answering your questions. Tune in.
There's a question that has been asked by one of the organizers of this series. Amuliza, what is property law? Okay, and I would like to first outline some of the things which are considered, na pia tuzungumzie ni sheria zipi ambazo zimewekwa na constitution ya Kenya ambayo ilikuwa promulgated back in 2010 that actually provides for all the rights, different types of property which are supposed to be owned in Kenya. And it also provides for if wewe ni mwananchi, jinsi ambao unaweza kumiliki shamba ama kumiliki ardhi, ama pia kuna sheria zinginezo ambazo zinaonesha kama uko na usanii, ubunifu, talanta yoyote ile ambayo uko nayo, vipi sheria inaweza kuzingatia na kukuhifadhi kutokana na kupoteza haki ambayo ni yako kuhusiana na milki ambayo inatokamana na shamba ama na kazi ambayo pia umebuni wewe mwenyewe kulingana na usanii na talanta uliokuwa nayo. When we look at the Constitution of Kenya, it talks about there's different articles which talk about land. Let's look at Article 62 to Article 65 that provides for the types of land which are in Kenya. We have the community land, we have the public land, and we also have privately owned land or community land. So all these are being provided for in the Constitution. We also have other articles which now talk about, for example, we know as a Kenyan citizen, you have every right whatsoever to own land or property in Kenya, be it an apartment, okay, be it a parcel of land that is there, so you can own land, okay, the property that is in question. And then we also have foreigners who want to come to Kenya. They can also hold property, but now for them, it's limited for a period of 99 years. So for this, you can refer to Article 65 that provides for foreigners who are allowed to own property in Kenya. Another thing that I would like to stress is that property law has a lot of importance in the daily lives of each and every single one of us, be it a Kenyan, be it a foreigner. You know, we have issues which are affecting people with regards to property. We have issues which are affecting organizations. We have companies which are having issues on mashida yote ambayo inatokana na mambo na property. So all these are being provided for. So in a recap of what I'm saying is that you have every legal right to own property, okay? And property does not strictly stick to land or a house. Even property that we consider intellectual property, something that has emanated from your brain, something that has emanated from your skills. We know we have artists who are drawing, we have musicians, we have actors and actresses, you know, we have poets. All this can be provided for, and that is the intellectual property law. So I think that is basically a brief introduction. Major, but I think we've covered most of it. So types of property, we can actually look at two for now. We have real property and personal property. Real property in that sense, tunaweza sema kwamba ni the type of property that is not movable. Yani huwezi kuisongeza from one area to another. You know, you cannot possibly move shamba itoke Syokimau iende Kiambu, ama shamba itoke Kiambu iende Kericho. So this is real property, okay? And we've already talked about the Constitution of Kenya that provides for the different types of land. So real property is any property that is not movable and you can own it. And then we have personal property. Now this is movable property, okay? We talk about cars, we talk about ships, we talk about aeroplane. All these are properties which can be moved from one place to another. So in another nut, you can say that there is movable and immovable property. Property that unaweza kusongeza na property ambayo huwezi kusongeza. So those are the two types of property that we can actually focus on because it's what affects us in our daily lives and what we come across each and every single day of our lives. Yes. For intellectual property, basically, intellectual property comes, when you look at the word intellectual, it comes from the word intellect, that now we have to say this is something that emanates from your own brain. So wewe mwenyewe uko na talanta, uko na ubunifu, uko na uzoefu, sawa, na unataka kuitumia ili uweze kupata a source of income or to reach out different number of people. So intellectual property actually provides for how best you can be able to protect your work, that is work that emanates from your own intellect. So for talents, for people who are acting, for people who are singing, for people who are artists, so whatever you do, when you draw, you can always protect this talent or protect this work of yours. And this is provided for under Article 40, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution of Kenya, that says that the government of Kenya has every single mandate to protect the rights of its citizen when it comes to property. And in this question, the intellectual property. So when we are trying to look at intellectual property, we have different bodies in Kenya, because Kenya has been a member of the World Intellectual Property Organization, that is WIPO, since 1971. And then we have several bodies which are formed in this country that are going to look and protect the different types of art or work that is in Kenya. So we have KIPI, that is the Kenya Industrial Property Institute. We have the Anti-Counterfeit Agency, okay, the Kenya Copyrights Board. All these are organizations that actually tend to preserve, okay, the works which we are all doing. So kama uko na talanta, kama umefanya kitu ambao unaufia kwamba inaweza kutumika kwingine, then you can always go to this institution and you can always protect your right. So if I can recall, the president of this country, that is Honorable William Ruto, he actually went ahead and registered ile mambo ni matatu as a trademark. So we have trademarks, we have patents, okay? These are all some of the things that you can also register. So if you have a slogan, maybe you've come up with a slogan, or you have a name that you don't want it to be used with anyone else out there, then you can always go, approach these bodies, provide what it is, make an application, and then you can register this under those bodies. I think that's basically something you should do with intellectual property. Well, we have different ways on which you can acquire property. If you look at one of the previous series that we made with this to Ask a Lawyer, we talked about succession. Succession now is another way you can acquire property. So when your father or your mother or any of your relatives akona shamba or akona property, then you can acquire that property through succession, kupitia urithi. Sawa sawa, akiwa na magari unarithi, akiwa na shamba unarithi, akiwa na kampuni unarithi. So number one, you can actually acquire property through succession. Number two, you can acquire property through when you're now going to be purchasing land. Okay, you've identified the land, you viewed it, you've done your official search, you've entered into an agreement, you've done your transfer. So this is another way you can acquire land. We also have what is known as a compulsory acquisition. This is normally by the government when they want to expand roads. Okay, so normally there is a procedure that the government follows. They don't just acquire your land illegally. So they're going to give you notices, you have to go, and then there's compensation that happens, okay? So you asked about what are some of the legal requirements. Of course, we know that we can be a Kenyan citizen or you can be a foreigner who is legitimately in this country, legally in this country, okay? So each and every citizen of Kenya has every right to own property, okay? So you can acquire property, like I've told you, from those succession. You can also, the government can also allocate land to you, that is the leasehold titles, for a period of 99 years, and the foreigners also for a period of 99 years. You can also be gifted land. Your ancestors or your father or your grandmother can gift you land as a gift, or your friend can also gift you land. Land that is co-owned between spouses can also transfer the interest from a deceased spouse automatically to the surviving one, okay? Joint tenants, all these are ways in which you can be able to acquire property in Kenya.